Hello, everybody, and today I want to talk about my favorite weapon in Lightfall so far. And surprise, surprise, it's a sidearm. No one's surprised. I know, I'm sorry. But today we're going to be talking about the new raid sidearm called Mykel's Reverence, Mykel's Reverence. I want to say it's Mykel's, but I don't know for sure. If you know for sure, let me know. But this is a rapid fire frame Strand Sidearm, so it does indeed go in the kinetic slot. So before I talk about why I like this so much, let's go over the perks that you can get on this sidearm. In the first perk column, you can get Elemental Capacitor, Unrelenting, Perfect Float, Thresh, Rewind Rounds, Pugilist, and Perpetual Motion. In the second perk column, you can get Offhand Strike, Frenzy, Harmony, Tap the Trigger, Swashbuckler, Hatchling, and causal Affinity. I obviously haven't been able to obtain every single combination to test them, but there's some interesting stuff in there. First of all, thanks to SuperDude1437 on Reddit, who managed to get a Tap the Trigger roll, this sidearm appears to have Tap the Trigger active the entire time you hold the trigger down. I'll leave a link to the video proof that SuperDude posted, but it appears to be active for 5 shots and then it reactivates for another 5 shots. Not sure if this is intended, but I don't believe Tap the Trigger has been available on this archetype before. Please correct me if I am wrong. And it would be weird to add Tap the Trigger to a full auto sidearm if it only worked for the very first shot. Although they've done that before, so maybe it wouldn't be weird. I don't know if it's intended or not. I think it's cool if it is. So I would love to get one and test how it feels. If you have one with Tap the Trigger, let me know what you think about it, because I could foresee myself going all in on range for the masterwork, the barrel, etc., and just having Tap the Trigger for stability. It could be good. I don't know. Another interesting perk, which is on the sidearm that I've used the most, is Hatchling. I'm just a big fan of Hatchling in general for both PvE and PvP. It's just extra damage, and I will never not enjoy seeing someone die to my threadling. It's just always gonna be funny to me. I do also run the Strand Fragment that gives you a chance to spawn a Threadling on a Strand weapon kill, so sometimes I make 2 Threadlings with the sidearm. Of course, if you are a Strand Warlock, you'll be able to take advantage of this even more, but even if you aren't, it's just free damage. It's just free extra damage. You don't have to even do anything. And if you didn't know, this isn't a PvP thing, this is a PvE thing, but Threadlings will also trigger that weapon's anti-champion perk. So for example, this season we have anti-barrier sidearms. If you spawn a Threadling and that Threadling goes and runs towards the champion, they will stun the anti-barrier champion. So that's cool. I actually haven't used it with anti-barrier champions. I have used it with Overload though. And for sure my Threadlings run towards the Overload champion and overload them. So that's a nice other little extra thing you can do with the Threadlings. I just like them. They're cool. I like them a lot. Causal Affinity could also be really interesting because you could grapple melee someone, get a quick kill to boost your damage for a while. That's also just, it's not free damage, you have to set it up, but it's just extra damage for stuff that you're probably already doing anyway. So it could be good. Again, I want to craft it so I can test all the things, but I only have 2 out of 5 so far, so this might take a while. I think the perks I am most looking forward to in a PvP role, just at least looking at it and using the sidearm for a little bit, would be Perpetual Motion for sure in the first slot. And then in the second, I'd like to try Tap the Trigger, Hatchling, Swashbuckler, and Causal Affinity to try and figure out which one I like the most. Maybe I'll like a bunch of them, but that's what I would like to try. So why do I like this so much, and why would I choose to use this over another sidearm? First of all, it looks weird, and that's a good thing. And when you shoot it, it lights up, and that will never not make me happy. But seriously, the main reason would be for the Strand Perks and the Strand interactions. Like I said before, with spawning an additional Threadling, you can then pair that with the Fragment Thread of Evolution, which makes your Threadlings travel further and do more damage. The artifact mod Untangler, where destroying a tangle with a strand weapon suspends targets. Couple that with Threaded Blast for just a great time. Allied Unraveling, where rapid final blows with a strand weapon grant your weapon unraveling rounds. Or the Fragment, Thread of Propagation, where powered melee final blows grant your Strand weapons unraveling rounds. Now, I know that the Hunter melee for Strand, people are like, it's really weak and it's definitely not super strong, but I've been surprised by the amount of kills I've got in PvP with that melee. I don't know. I don't know. I've just been surprised by it. So I'm actually able to proc that a lot more often than you might think. I personally also just think the gun feels really good. I know that rapid fire frames have less range than other archetypes of sidearms, but this archetype is pretty hard to beat in a mid to close range gunfight. And with me wanting to couple this with perpetual motion, the plan would be to be aggressive and get up in there all the time, especially if I'm swinging around with Strand. I usually do swing too far, so then I'm like super in there when I don't mean to be. The builds with this thing are only going to get better too, and that goes for all Strand weapons, of course. But as you guys know, I am a sidearm lover. I do like SMGs, but I just like sidearms more. I don't know why. They just always feel better. They have more aerial effectiveness in general. So if you're someone who likes to be jumping around, sidearms will tend to do that job better for you than other ones with like no investment into aerial effectiveness. So yes, builds are going to get better with all Strand weapons, but this is also a Strand weapon, so it's going to get better. We know for sure we're getting more aspects. I assume we'll get more fragments, but we know for sure we're getting more aspects next season. So that's just going to add to the fun of Strand weapons even more so. And I'm just really happy to have a fun Strand sidearm. I'm just generally having a really great time using Strand weapons, and this is my favorite one. Obviously, when I'm running a Strand subclass. And I know that it sounds obvious where you're like, oh, you're really liking the interaction of a Strand weapon and a Strand class, just like you also enjoy using a Void weapon with a Void class. So I know it sounds obvious, but I am finding this pairing of Strand weapon and Strand class to be even more fun than other class to weapon pairings. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's all down to the threadlings. Seeing those little guys pop out after you kill someone and they just go and murder someone. It's nice. It's fun. I like it. So if you can get into the raid and get one of these, give it a spin. It's a really fun gun. And if you have one already, please let me know in the comments which perks you are enjoying. And even if you don't have one, I would love to know which perks you're thinking of pairing together. Do you have any builds in mind? I want to know all the things. So let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come and drop a follow on Twitch so you can hang out with us doing all of the stuff live. I'm there every week. So if you don't see me uploading, I am there every week no matter what. And thanks for watching. Bye.